What's good, folks? What is good? James Six here with another episode of the Digital Collective. We got a hot one for you tonight, so buckle in if you're not buckled in already. Man behind the scenes here is gonna bring some fire, and if you're not ready, you might want to get ready. So Keith Pelzer, right? This man is a man of many talents, many passions. He uses his gifts and his abilities of ministry and music to positively affect lives. He's a Grammy winning musician and producer that has worked with some of the biggest names in the industry. He's a content creator who has built out his own extensive broadcast and recording studio while also working and helping others level up their own broadcast environments. He's a man of God, and I can guarantee you, before we get done tonight, he's going to find some kind of way to sneak a preach into this session tonight. Today, I wanted to have a conversation really about staying in tune with who you are and driving towards your own end goal instead of trying to be like the next person next to you, instead of trying to be like Mike, right? It's a never winning battle trying to keep up with the Joneses. So essentially, let's stop trying to fix something that may not be broke. I'm going to go ahead and be quiet. And ladies and gentlemen, Keith Pelzer's in the building. Look at this man right here. God,
Oops. What's
well,
going on, man?
did I bring you on right? Hold on. Did I bring you on right? I just want to. I've been worried about
You
this all
did.
day. Okay.
No, you did. You did. You brought me on right.
All
I'm
right.
here.
I'm not Steve Harvey or nothing, but I'm gonna do what I can to get you right out
Hmm.
here.
I want to say already we got to do this more often.
Look, I've been trying to get with you since last year.
I mean, but you ain't even got a schedule. Just pop on and just do it.
Okay. So there we go. We already gonna go off the cuff right there, and now listen, brother.
Just pop on and do it.
Okay, I'm gonna just come in the front door, and Miss Tina gonna be like, who that? Who who just walking in the front door in the kitchen all the time?
Right.
Talk to me. Listen, man. I want you to tell these folks the elevator pitch of KP. Right. I can give what I know and from what I've learned over the time that we've been communicating online, but it's always best for someone to tell their own story. So real quickly, brother, just tell everyone who you are, really, just from that 35,000 foot level.
Man, I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. No, that's my preacher joint. Now Keith Pelzer, the producer, pastor, songwriter. Now I guess I grabbed that term content creator, blah, 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 all of that stuff. I've been on hiatus from doing music, production, the whole nine, and I got into this. And so in this, I'm able to do everything that I do. I can preach, play, produce, everything at the same time. And so I'm actually loving it. And the main thing was just staring into it and pivoting in the pandemic. And so who I am now is a product of life's crisis.
Wow.
And meeting who I've already been. That's it in a nutshell.
Wait a minute. You're not gonna just throw that out there. Okay, let me say what's up to everyone in the comments, first of all. And it took him all of 2 minutes to try to sneak a preach into that, right? You are a product of life crises. What does that mean? Go a little bit deeper than that. Let's peel that onion.
Well, there's production that happens in certain environments.
Okay.
And so, hey, Marilyn, there's production that happens. And so there's who you are, and then there's environments that you're put into that you end up becoming, right? This is crazy. You become something that you technically were, but were not before. In other words, when you take becoming you can become something that's built off of who you already were. Gotcha. So sometimes people will argue, oh, you became this, and it was like, oh, you was already that because of your bloodline or whatever. But it's circumstances that prune you or shape you into the argumental place of who you became as a result of. And so circumstances, situations can happen that'll shift you into something you never saw, that we can argue it was there.
Yeah.
But then we can argue anything is possible because you said I was going to do it. I did it in the first 5 minutes of this. For those who are
the flow is yours.
Well, look, those of us who are biblical, without getting biblical here,
Get
when you
biblical,
take
brother.
Jeremiah 1, right?
Let me get my.
In that first chapter, it's like, before you entered your mother's womb, I knew thee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a Hebrew word near that talks about I squeezed you into. It's interpreted to squeeze into, which means that you put something in a space that's bigger than the space that it's in. So therefore, circumstances will punch out of you all of that stuff that only happens on friction, combustion, or crises or situations, and it pops out of you. There's so many things that could be in there, but it all depends on what you go through that actually brings it out. So
All right.
that's why they say there are people that die with potential.
So let's go into that a little bit deeper, right? So
Mhm.
is that necessarily a good thing, a positive thing? Is that a negative thing? All right, or does it take some consciousness to acknowledge that you are a product of your life crises, and if you don't want to stay within that state, right? How do you get yourself out of that, or how do you utilize that state to be a better individual, a better human being, that kind of thing? You kind of get what I'm saying? When you know that you're in a
Yeah.
particular situation, you know you're in a life crisis, and you're a product of a life crisis, instead of wallowing in that, right? You know,
Mhm.
how do you get yourself out of that? Where do you go to? What types of resources and things of that nature? What is kind of your answer to that? Because you've gone completely almost 180 degrees thus far in terms of explaining it, but now how do we get out of it if we don't want to be there?
Wow. So one of the things to determine is understanding when you're in something, when you look at the positive part of it, that's good. Serve it. Pressure creates a diamond. This is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. So I like that concept, how pressure creates a diamond. We talk about diamonds sometimes. What's great about that, and I'm gonna use that. The diamond part of it is a diamond is just the diamond, right?
Mm.
And we use the analogy and illustration about the diamond, but the diamond won't represent a person in consciousness. So the diamond only represents something that actually doesn't have control over itself. So it's the storm that you're in that you really have no control in the process, but you go through the pressure and you come out to be a valuable diamond.
Man, hope
Now let's talk
somebody's
about
listening.
consciousness.
Man, hold on,
So let's talk about
hold on, man.
consciousness.
Get your rocket
Okay.
books, get your mold skins, get your Apple Notes and your Google Keep, everything. Right now. Go ahead and get it right now. I'm gonna let him take a breath, because he really about to drop him. We got to bring all ye ties to the
No,
to
no.
the to the
So
storehouse.
no,
Go
this is
ahead,
good.
brother.
And my brother there serving the Christ Ministries. When you look at this, and Charles, shout out to Charles. I see Charles out there. When you take this together, and so my brain will just go like a Jay-Z in ministry, though, right? You just off the dome, Biggie Smalls, no paper.
Mm-hmm.
The diamond, I love the diamond thing, and the diamond illustrates greatly value under pressure, right? Ugliness into beauty. Okay, now let's look at control in the situation. So you find yourself, and this just happened today. Look how God works. I was out on a ride, a bike ride, and every now and then you get with people that's like, "Oh, which way you going? Roll with us." And you like, "All right, well, what y'all doing? Because I'm trying to take it easy today." And
Right.
they say, "Oh, we ain't going to do no big nothing. Just we're just cruising, right?" So you start cruising, and you realize somebody throw the okey doke, and they say turn left, and you look left, and it's like it's this big hill, and you like, my legs wasn't ready for that hill. Now you start going up the hill because of your ego, and you find yourself in a pseudo storm because you actually now are at a place where you can go back down the hill and punk out, or you can press on up.
You got that
Now you
decision to
press on
make.
up that, yeah, you got to
Yeah.
make a decision.
Right.
And so now the decision that you're making is your perspective is about, is this pain going to benefit me in the long run? Is it going to make me better? If I want to get better, I got to roll with people that have been through stuff, that understand
Mm.
dealing with pressure.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so if I'm in a group or a pack and the majority is going up that hill, I can say it's not about how strong they are, but it's how strong I need to be in this situation. Somewhere along the way, once you get over that first hill, your muscles start to do something where you kind of like, yo, I'm open now. So why turn around? So somewhere at the beginning of the pandemic, most people, they lost their way. And it's like, yo, we already like 5 months in it.
Right.
Got to keep going. It's getting harder. And we still don't know what's around the corner. but got to keep going. So I said all that to say it's mainly about perspective to answer your question, right? So perspective is even jumping to the thorn in our side. Now we're given an answer to deal with that kind of shapes our perspective as a believer, and it's called "My grace is sufficient." Now that forms a fact in Scripture as we believe it, but it also shapes into a perspective to have when we're dealing with pressures and thorns in our lives. We jump to "My grace is sufficient." Now, how do I continue on? There is a way. Even if I got to take days or a couple of seasons to find it, my pursuit is in there's a way out of this and there's a better tomorrow.
So realizing that and understanding that, because we're going to get into it now. We're going to get into it. Jill, thank you for that message. Hopefully I got my mic right. I'm practicing with some new mics right now. I probably should go ahead and get rid of this one, but we ain't going to talk about that.
I can hear you fine.
Okay. Well, I got to worry about Miss Jill too, man, because I don't want her to beat me up. When you are being in those situations, and again, not trying. Let's go back to your analogy about being on the ride today, right? And making that decision of should you continue on with the group. You had the choice to make, again, of going up the hill, going back down the hill, or not, and you had to be okay yourself with that decision and what you're going to do. Not just in that athletic event, but let's talk about it from a life perspective, and then let's talk about it again from a solopreneur, entrepreneur, maybe content. How do we bring that into, like my pastor would say, let's make it plain, right? From an everyday perspective of, again, knowing that you have a decision to make, and it's not just about, like I said in the monologue, keeping up with the Joneses, but is this the thing that Keith Pelzer needs to do to be better for himself? How is this going to benefit him from the long term? And just having that wherewithal to know that it makes sense for me to do this for me, as opposed to doing this to try to keep up with these folks because they think or they know that I can ride as well, right? So again, just having that wherewithal and that perception, as you said, to know what you need to do for you, as opposed to trying to do something to keep up with these other folks on these Schwinns. Or no, y'all don't ride Schwinns, right? Y'all ride a Specialized.
Yeah, Specialized, Trek, Canalgo. This is good. Like just jump back in and redirect the question any way you need to.
Yeah.
But to make it more plain, right? If we do go back to that bike riding thing to make it make sense, and then I'll talk a little bit about entrepreneurship, this content creation, whatever. The one thing that I can pull together is you got to remember, why'd you go out there in the first place? So for instance, I may just say, I'm a ride every day. Why? For my health / enjoyment, to keep moving, to clear my head, for meditation time, prayer time. Andrew was going on, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So my purpose really don't have anything to do with other people right now. This is about me.
Yeah.
And we hate to use this term, it's all over self-care, building up yourself and all of that, you clearing your head. I'm doing this for me. That's basically what it is. Now, what I'm doing for me, by law of creation, we are meant to work together to some extent, right? There's power more than one. Man should not be alone. We're not dealing with gender here. We just say man should not be alone, right?
Yeah.
Let's just put it on that surface there. So you and I, technically, when two people, the reason why Ecamm, Restream, all these things have the interview thing is because bringing somebody on or doing something with somebody, it actually works together. It helps, right? And it draws more, people. Two are better than one. Two Restreams acting at the same time are better than just one space. So when I go out, I'm doing it for me first, but then I'm open if somebody's going in the same direction with me. Then I have to look at everybody may not be out to ride as hard as I'm riding.
Yeah.
There are people that come out and their bikes were put together by the bike shop. I built mine from scratch. Okay. I didn't start off like that, but after I got into it, I built mine from scratch.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I had to ask everybody, great Ecamm plug here. There's, every day somebody's going to come in and say, hey, what's a good mic?
Yeah.
And you got 1,000 people chiming in, right?
Yeah.
Who just got a mic, ain't been doing it before, but 3 minutes. Then you got those people that I've been doing this and I work for this
Yeah.
company and that company and I know microphones and stuff. And it's like, dude, ma'am, that's
that.
not your room.
Yeah.
That, for the person that just started, you haven't really started. And for the person that been doing it for 1,000 years, it's like,
go ahead now.
those were your years, not their year. And I'm always looking in the room like, this is like a coming out party of everybody to unpack the list of things that they bought. Oh, I got that. I got 8 of them. It's like, that's not helping the person that need help right
Not
there.
even helping yourself, to be honest with you. Right.
So let's go to the person that's asking for the help, right? Their weakness in most states are they don't understand their why.
Yes.
When you understand your why in the day of YouTube, you've already come to the table with your research.
Yeah.
To the point where you actually don't have to ask a room of people. You'll ask those that you see. So if I determine after my research that the SM7B is a great mic and I have issues, I know that this person uses that person, and I'm asking them to tweak in where I'm already at or where I know I'm going and I'm trying to get to.
Exactly.
So to answer your question, one of those things are most people don't understand and they forget their main purpose and where they're going. And somewhere along the way, they get bombarded with experts that have not arrived.
Hold on, I'm pausing, right? I'm letting that marinate right there. Where limb drops at? I'm gonna let that marinate right there, boy. If I had
you heard what I said? Experts that have not arrived. Yes, you know, sir. What I learned in this content creator arena? There's so many levels of stagnant experts where people want to be at an arrived state.
Well,
so their platform
today, aren't you?
No, listen. So their platform only sits in the environment where they're king or queen at.
Okay.
Okay.
No, keep going. I know where you're going, but I want to hear it. I'm not going to assume. I want to hear this. Keep going.
Look, listen. Keith Pelzer ain't scared to say it, okay? Because I'm a preacher, right?
Look, you on here, brother. I'll mark this whatever we need to, but keep going with that. And then I want to get back to some comments because there's some critical statements that were brought up. Carlos, I see you, brother. We're gonna talk about what you just said a few minutes ago, but yeah, keep going with that. We have some experts who have not arrived. Now you coming through people's front door with some statements. Now go ahead.
And the problem with that is they don't realize it. Okay, like, or they're fighting with, they know they have not arrived, or maybe they don't, but they want to be experts and they thrive in being an expert only in certain arenas, because outside of that is the truth. And the truth is that in most cases, stuff that we argue about, it don't even matter.
That is true.
and once you throw all that on the table, it helps people who are struggling to recalibrate and focus on where they're going. Where are you trying to get to? Some people, they forget their why, and some people never knew their why in the first place.
Man, I see Pastor Felicia is in the room, and we talked about that last week, man. So she already gave a master class on knowing your why and that kind of thing. Let me hold on before I move to the next statement, because you got, I'm just throwing away all these notes. Forget the notes. We're gonna get into this engagement because you're hitting the right nerves, right? And folks wanna have this dialogue, and that's what we're trying to do, folks. Really raise the level of conversation. You notice we really getting into mental health. We getting into self-care, as you said. We're into knowing your why. We're talking about, again, perseverance and things of that nature, and staying focused. Shouts out to I see Preston So in the building too. We trying to stay focused this year. Little plug right there too. You can do a plug for Ecam. I can do a plug for me.
Absolutely.
You ain't wearing mine. I gotta get you one of my shirts. Oh, hold on. Okay, here we go. Let me bring this up here from Carlos. We are better off with spotters, others who are in it with us, and those people help us gain helpful perspective, godly perspective. Our side of the street is to be honest, open, and real. That literally sums up the last 15 minutes in terms of what we were just talking about right there. So, Carlos, appreciate you on that right there. We shouldn't be here and trying to do everything alone. Look for what was his name, Mr. Rogers. Look for the helpers, right? And again, I'm making it plain, bringing it out in layman's terms, but look for the ones who have been in the situation, who can give positive feedback and positive criticism and positive enlightenment, as opposed to those wannabe experts, as you mentioned too, right? The folks that are just in it showboating, or the ones who haven't put in the work, don't appreciate the process. There's a process to everything that we're doing. So we got a lot of content creators here in the comments. Those folks understand what it takes to go through the pre, the intra, and the post process of actually putting on a stream or a show, whatever the case you want to be, right? So they understand that there is a process to be good, to be great, and to continue to evolve. No one, and that I know in these comments right here, is selfish. Everyone in these comments right here is willing to pick up the phone, pick up the Zoom, send out an email, and help the next person out. Those are the folks that you want to align yourself with, right? From this is what I'm getting from the conversation from you as well. But the folks who aren't, the folks that are selfish, the folks who aren't in it for the community or for helping others, are the ones that are pretending, the ones that are fake, the ones that, I don't want to call anybody fake, the ones you may want to ostracize yourself away from, right? As opposed to being close in terms of sharing what you're trying to do with. I'm rambling, but I'm going down a particular path I want to take you to eventually, man. Go ahead. I see you talking.
No, wait. You're not rambling. I had to reset my audio. Go ahead. Take over a little bit. I had to reset my audio.
Oh my God, this man got so many buttons over here. You know, all right. Why are you resetting the audio? Let me go ahead and say what's up to the.
Hang on one second.
See,
I'm resetting my audio.
Dr. Nixon over there, stay focused, man. I'm trying. I didn't want to wear the hat too because I'd be too overbrand, but you know that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to stay focused. Carlos again coming with some fire right here. We often get stuck trying something new over and over again to establish change, but much of the time it's about executing better. Interesting. I like that. How's your audio right now? Stephen Pop, I see you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for being here, man. Robert Lee, good to see you, brother. Hope you cleared all that snow out of your area there. So I'm glad you're here. Oh Lord, Keith done fell off. Where's your audio at, brother? Come on in now. Come on in. Can't hear you, partner. You got too many buttons over there. I can't hear you. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. Hold on. Yeah. See, because I know you can hear me. Because I didn't push any button. Yeah. Look at that. These are the joys of going live, and this is the joy of finally getting Mr. Keith Pelzer online, so I can see him work through it. I'm the one sweating, right? I got the lights on me. My audio is working. He over there got Apollos going. He got Shores going, Roads going, AKG. I don't know too many other names, and now he just left. Lord have mercy. Maybe I'll play some Jeopardy music or something.
All right, can you hear me now,
brother? There, welcome back.
Okay, you know what? It's Chrome. I think it's Chrome. But go ahead. Let's get back into the flow.
We gonna blame the browser.
Listen, I'm cool with the equipment. It's like the browser is like somebody said to use Brave. Well, maybe I'll use Brave next time.
Remember, Brave actually tries to protect you from yourself. Brave is trying to be like the Apple of browsers, right? It locks down a lot of services, so some things work, some things don't work all the time by default. You got to go in and manipulate it.
Oh, okay.
But you back, man. Let me let you catch up. Now that you got the
I've been staying with Apollo on the side. Go ahead, put me back on track, man. I'm sorry, y'all.
No worries, brother. I tell you what, let's rewind a little bit, because we started going down a path, and I wanted to eventually get there, but I want to continue to talk about and set some precedents a lot of the folks that are here are from your community. So shouts out and appreciate you guys for coming and joining the stream. Glad we were able to pair the streams. But for my audience and for my community, I know you talked a little bit, but let's talk about that journey of you from music to the pulpit, right?
Okay.
And what that entailed, and was that how did that transpire again? It's not a complete pivot, but again, I just want to talk a little bit about that journey of yours from the music business to the pulpit.
Well, here's the thing. I was always there, and music actually started in church. That's the easy part. Um, Philly was represented last night on Versus. Shout outs to Music Soul Child and to all the brothers from A Touch of Jazz crew that worked on that project. He sang a lot of our hits last night. The song that I did is called 143, and that's basically like a Stevie Wonderish type churchy song. And I was happy to hear that last night. That's all church stuff. So the production in that, the arrangement in it, that was just growing up singing choir songs, listening to old deacons singing church and all. And I ended up, long story short, meeting Jazzy Jeff, Will Smith, the crew, and my church guys that I knew. We all converged. We met some other guys, and then, we ended up being 6 guys doing neo soul from Philly. My boy James Poyser, that's on the Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon every night. His father, the late Bishop Poyser, just passed away. We were all church boys, and we just out there in the music industry. Our parents let us go everywhere and do whatever. They trusted us, and we got involved, and we made hits out of Philly. So we didn't try to be the new Gamble and Huffs or
Yeah.
Kenny Gamble and all those guys. We
Now
just did what we did.
Back now when you start mentioning them names. Not these youngsters don't know about that, right? I got the salt in the beer too, so I've been there. Okay.
So we just stacked on what we knew, and that's what came out, right? And so the whole time I'm in church every Sunday, unless I'm in LA, Atlanta, New York, whatever, doing studio sessions, I'm in church because that was life, right. I was born on August 29th, 1971, which was a Sunday. And I only missed maybe about 20 years, 20 Sundays out of my entire life for church,
Wow.
Other than the pandemic, but other than that, I was always there. And as you see now, I got that content creator gift of gab, so I like talking, I can shut up. Trust me. There's times when you be like, you all right? It's like, no, I'm just not talking now, but it's like, that's very rare, but I like persuasion. Okay. But not manipulation. There's a difference.
Wow.
Okay. I like persuasion, but not manipulation. A lot of people, they try to manipulate, and those are false prophets, which some people are on now. Some people I like to, follow, they're actually live now talking about false prophets and stuff, where it's more about manipulation. But when you take persuasion always gives you that space of you being who you are, but hearing another perspective and a point. So like Agrippa in the Bible, he said, thou has almost persuaded me, because he heard Paul out. Paul gave him his story, accepted or rejected. It's not that deep. But from the organ to the studio, from the studio then to the pulpit is my journey. Okay. So it was always church. Church was culturally music for us. And then by the time it came to take over, I was always into, what is the preacher saying? So I'm not just in there with music. I'm listening to, what is he saying? How are the people reacting? I'm looking at how much power and influence I have.
Right.
Because I'm like, even though Reverend preached and taught a great word, I know that if I play these 3 chords, Sister so-and-so going to jump around the floor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I ain't even have to say nothing. So I'm like, we affect people with many things that we do, religious or non-religious. And so I just threw a lot in there, but get back to answer your question.
That's where I want to go right there. We affect people with all of the activities that we do. And because I was going to ask you, which had the most profound effect on you growing up and in life? Was it the music, or was it church? But I think you clarified that up and said it was kind of a combination of the two, but mainly church. We have a profound effect on the people around us with the things that we do. Talk to us a little bit about what that means again and I want to talk specifically to the folks that are in the audience right now, right? As we're trying to I'll say myself, right? As we're working to build out our communities, as we're working out to build our followings, as we're looking to advocate, that's my word as opposed to influence, right? I don't like the word
Mm-hmm.
influencer. I'm actually looking to be. So after I get done with focus, we're going to talk about advocate.
Nice.
Shout out Sylvia, and I see Andrew. That's get ready for that. That's coming. Uh, talk to us a little bit about that perspective right there, right? Again, the things that we do and how that helps advocate or helps, I'll say it again, influence people, and being cognizant of what we do and how that has a profound effect on the folks around us.
Hmm. Advocate is like responsibility, right? Um, Influence, it almost sounds like persuaded,
Yeah.
but influence can be, think of this. We'll say, don't be around so and so because they a bad influence.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lack of advocacy there. So advocate, paraclete, okay, Holy Spirit, advocate, right? So stand up for,
Mm-hmm.
to help guide, help correct, help fix, bring out of, speak on behalf or speak up for
Right.
until I
You
can
talking, you
speak
saying the
myself.
exact words that are on the shirt, the template that I gave Andrew. That's why I'm sitting here cracking up.
Oh, wow.
So I love it. It's gonna be dope. And I know Drew's probably falling back in his chair right now. So man, keep going. I love this. I
Oh
love it.
man.
Yeah.
But advocate is stand up for. It's
Yes.
influence is slightly, if we get into the semantics of it, influencers are it's a correct word for sales, right?
Come on.
When you say Amazon
Come
influencers,
on now.
it's like I'm going to convince you that this is the best light to have to light up your room, right? And technically, it may not be the best light for everybody, but if I can influence 1,000 people, then it gets us profit, right?
Yeah.
So think about this. There are a lot of people in our pulpits who are influencers. And when you think about the profit that they gain from it, that's where you get profiliers, okay? You get false prophets. So, let's pay off that word. PROPHET, profit, FIT, profit liars, to gain from. And so they use influence. So influence will be on, I'm meeting your desire, your taste. Okay. Advocate is to stand up for. And so the person that wants ice cream, the advocate doesn't influence you to eat the new Haagen-Dazs. They advocate for you and be the face, my wife's company, favor, face and voice of reason. Okay. And so what is the reason behind this? And if the reason is just to satisfy your flesh, that's not good. The struggle in this type of environment from an entrepreneurial standpoint of view is people wrestle with trying to be authentic and trying to be successful, right? You have to be real careful when you can go into something and say, I'm selling these sneakers to make money. So my son, he's an artist, right? So he had a hustle in high school where he would just get the Air Force Ones, plain white, and draw on them for people. Okay. Now he's passionate about his art, but we had to let him know, like, look, you can draw all you want, but it's going to cost you. So you got to make money,
sneakers
right?
$200 a pair, right?
Yeah. It's like if you just draw for free, people like, oh, draw Batman on my sneakers. It's like, yo, the other dude's making $400. You understand, for drawing Batman on somebody's sneakers. Mm-hmm. So you have to say, all right, what do you want to do? So in there, he can make a conscious decision on what he's doing and his why. And if you understand your why is to make money, to pay for sneakers that you want, or to get you extra money for when you go to college, that's exactly why you're doing it. You're not confused about it.
Yes.
Now, in there, you're putting passion into your drawing. But the main thing is you need to come out of that with making money. So when people jump into YouTube and they're content creators and stuff, I don't think influencer is bad, but you can't be contradictory and lean into, let the audience define you as a great influencer, but you got to know that your word is actually advocacy, and they'll see it because it's in the point of success that people will really appreciate and judge who you are. or they'll evaluate you at a certain level of success. And at that point, if all they see is you were successful in rising up to the top, you could lose some authentic people. But if they see significance, you can keep those who you influence and those who you've persuaded and those you've advocated for. So I learned in music. I just saw a post and I'm just like, my buddies, right? They may not call me buddy now, but life goes on, we grow. But the guys I worked on with Music Soul Child's album, I love everybody's work. The guys I grew up working with in the studio, I love all of their work, right? But there are some records I worked on with the same people that I'm like, man, nobody really plays my song. But I seen a bunch of women say, oh, I'm glad he sang 143 last night. I'm gonna be honest, that made me feel good because I'm like, just friends. I didn't do that song. I was in the room when they did it, but I didn't do that song. That's one of my favorite songs. Half Crazy. I didn't do Half Crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I was on the album, but I didn't do that song. And so to hear that, I'm happy for those people,
right.
But I'm just like, dang, I didn't do that song. But the thing is, I know my why that I did stuff. So whatever it does or doesn't do, it's not really bothering me like that because at the end of the day, it touches people. And when you see that, there's 2 million people that like the album, and out of that, there's a great percentage that like my song. So I'm cool with that. And I can go to bed at night not feeling like a failure. You understand what I'm saying? Because you weren't trying to just be successful at something.
So let me ask this before I forget, because I'm old. Then I'm gonna go back to some of these comments. Now, is that something that is innate to people, or was that innate to you, or did you have to learn? Did you have to grow into that? Right? Again, taking yourself out of the situation, not being selfish for the fact that you were in the room, but you weren't on the keyboards for that particular track. You weren't playing the drum, whatever, right? And then seeing it blow up and do all these things. Mm-hmm. At the moment, how did you feel versus you told us how you felt last night when you heard it on Versus, but again, is that just something from an upbringing? Is that something from church history? Is that something that mom and daddy taught you, or is that just something that life has taught you as a lesson to don't sweat the small stuff, don't sweat the stuff that you can or cannot change, and rise above? I don't know if I may be answering the question for myself. But I kind of want to hear from you as well.
No, you hit it. That's the part where you advocate for people that suffer from a depressive state or a inadequate feeling of accomplishment because it's not what you want in that moment. So let's go back to another Versus. Jill Scott, Erykah Badu.
Yeah.
I mean,
you all over that one. Yeah.
Dude, I just knew, right? And here's the thing. I did Jill Scott's wedding, right? Like I did her wedding. Yeah. Okay, she's not married to that person, but
watch out now.
That's like my sis. We talk on the phone and stuff. So she's on Versus, so she's in, her celebrity mode. And there's that feeling that you want the shout out, and it's just like you don't get it. Erykah Badu, when Jill finally plays my song, Erykah Badu said, "That's my boo." She was like, you had to play that, boo, and I'm laughing. And people that know me are like, Philly's like, yeah, Keith, and by that moment, I was just like, you know what? I was wrong in my feelings and emotions. It's like when you sit to just see that recognition and stuff, it kind of sucks. So what I try to teach people is when you're doing something, so I had to rewind all the way back to 1997, 98, when we was broke as jacks, picking up coins from underneath the machine, making songs just to make songs because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Puff Daddy comes to our studio. We broke as jack. I got a dent in my car that I had to take the insurance money just to pay the car note and leave the dent in there.
Tell the story, brother. Go ahead.
When I say we making music, I'm talking about without a care in the world. It's like, yo, what's James' mom made? What's Keith mom? What Felicia cooked? She got extra collard greens, and we putting a plate together from 4 different people, grinding and eating. We going to Great Adventure on pennies with just enough gas money and told to go have a great time. Broke as a joke at the park.
Yeah.
And then we fly to LA, right? broke his jacks, and then people are like, y'all them guys. And it's like, next thing you know, Babyface is at the studio. Next thing you know, Kenny Dope Louis Vega, you got Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis is like, y'all doing some fire. And you sitting there like, all these people really know.
Yeah.
And somewhere in there, we kind of realize our characters, and I don't want to just speak for everybody else. Let me get back to me. The character that I know that I had, it wasn't about that. Now, some people, that's what they live for.
Mm-hmm.
That's their thing. You understand what I'm saying? And and that's what they want. But I come from a place where I'm just like, I'm not tripped out over that, right? It's not that I didn't spend money on keyboards or buy stuff, or, you know, we need to have the best mic or something, but we didn't make that make us. We maintain who we were in the whole process. And I can say at 50 years old now, when I look back to those days of 20-year-old, you know, there was just some things that, you know, you think about and you like, my happiest moment was just in the, why do I do it? Because I like to do it, because I'm having fun doing it. And if you can maintain that, you know, that's life, man.
Yeah. And the fact that you can respect, kind of like I was saying earlier, you respect that process. You respect that time where you were eating ramen and Mountain Dew, right? Or even if you were doing that, but you respect coming through the dirt and coming up out of that. And then the fact that you were doing it for the love of the music, for the love of what you were doing, when someone who was at another level than you recognized it, that just made it even more worthwhile. You went back probably and grinded even harder, still doing the same thing on a shoestring budget. Right. Again, I'm making assumptions, but again, just for the fact that you sat in it, right? You accepted the fact that I got $4 in the bank and I owe the government 20. But you know what? We sit here on the corner and we writing lyrics, we writing songs, we putting melodies together, and we're enjoying this, knowing that we're gonna come out of this someday, somehow, some way. Right. The Lord works in mysterious ways, and we don't know what time we're going to get that knock at the door when Puff Daddy comes and says, take that, you know? Right. So, but once you got that, you were ready. Not just physically, but I think emotionally is kind of what I'm getting out of what you were saying as well. Emotionally, you had already sat in yourself and become to the point where I can take this on because I've kind of been through the hardest parts already, and the rest of this now is just going to be something that I'm already attuned and already trained and already ready for.
Man, now think about this. What? No, go ahead. Go
ahead, man. I want to acknowledge this before we go on. So, shouts out, Miss Jill. Yeah, we definitely are here. Thank you for this.
Hey, Miss Jill.
You know, higher level conversations, right? And this is
wait, is that my yellow mic, Jill?
I can't stay focused with you. Oh, Lord have mercy. I wanted to say what's happened to you. Know that
is that the same? Is that Jilly? Am I supposed to be represent with the yellow for my girl?
Go ahead and put them yellows on right there.
I'm putting this on for my Jill. I'm putting this on for my Jill.
Because you see, Jill, that you got family here, right? So at the end of the day, you know, Miss Felicia, you got Dr. Keith, and I'm just the guy heckling from the back of the room. So we are here to support and have these conversations. So thank you for the time and for coming. Dr. Elo, guess what shirt I'm wearing today? Send me a photo. Put me on Instagram. I want to see, brother. Okay.
Elo.
Yeah, that's a bad man too. I need to talk to him. All right, now let's get back to it. We talked about wallowing in it, going through the dirt, climbing under the barbed wire, and going through the hard times, and then coming out of it. Where was you gonna go before I so rudely interrupted you?
No, you weren't. So I'll cut right across the field because I didn't see the first episode yet, but Bel Air is out, right?
Yes.
So there's Fresh Prince of Bel Air, the original back in the day, and I'm cutting with a church girl, Tia Pittman. Her name is now. She's in Texas, and because she's a church girl, she knew how to sing real good, right? So you didn't have to really deal with somebody that didn't know pitch and all of that. So we making songs and we just taking Jesus out of it.
Yeah.
And it's an R&B song, right? that's basically how you do it, right? And so
leave Kirk Franklin alone. I mean, see,
So here's the crazy thing. So T and I, we cut this song, and it was, so I did a song with Jill Scott called "He Loves Me," right? That's a well-known song. But the original "He Loves Me" that I did was a song I did with Tia, and then my old partner Darren Henson, he jumped in and we started doing the Jam and Lewis thing together because he helped take it to the next level. So then, we always did like a 33 and a third, 3 people in it or 2 people produce it. We didn't fight over it. Well, I did this much, you did that much. We collaborated, right?
Yeah. See, when you said that, I was thinking about the old record. Okay, but 33 and 30.
Oh yeah, right.
The old big records. Yeah, again,
how about the 78? The 78, 45, 33.
78. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So them Jones was heavy, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, the song, Will Smith comes down the studio and he's like, yeah, so Tatiana Ali, she got a record deal. And I was like, oh, Tatiana Ali. So we all excited, and we were trying to cut an album on Tia, and Tatiana Ali wanted the song that we cut with Tia.
Okay.
So now when you broke, you ain't got nothing, right? You kind of like, now we kind of like, nah, we want that on Tia album. And it's like, man, Tia church girl, she ain't coming out with that song. We was just cutting it for fun. And then the problem was, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this. We were questioning, could she pull the song off?
Oh wow, okay.
Because it's got like, who Kim Burrell is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of like trying to give Total a Kim Burrell song.
See, you almost like as a Beyonce versus a Kelly Rowland or Michelle. What's the name?
Yeah,
can
know what I'm saying?
Can she?
You like,
okay.
Is so you kind of like, I don't know if this gonna work.
Boy,
but it's
you pulling some trash out tonight, boy. Go
they
ahead.
had to check. They had to check. So they like, yo, here. And I'm gonna get to my point though. But the thing is, the way we were cutting, I was already cutting digital, and everybody was still on 24, 2-inch tape, or DA88s, and which are like VCR like tapes and all.
Yeah, okay.
And I was already in a digital machine. And so I had all the tracks done. So we let the song go and was like, yo, we're going to get this to Tatiana Ali. Well, we get to LA, and the engineers were like, they weren't up on what I was doing. I'm talking big engineers. So when I said, here's the stuff, they were like, you did it on that? And it's like, yeah. I said all that to say, in our environment, we were so tapped into, we do it this way because that's what worked for us.
Gotcha.
Now this is loaded.
Yeah.
One of those things is, we don't just buy a mic and say, well, this is what I bought, so it's the best thing. No, we test it ourselves. We check it. My lights and stuff in the room, yeah. I test that for me.
Right.
I may be influenced slightly by you and say, dang, those lights are dope that James got behind them. So this light I have over here, I might be like, if I didn't have those and I seen yours, then I might only know your lights. So let's just say they're Nan lights or something, right? Or aperture, whatever. So I'm gonna be like, James, what kind of lights are those? You want to tell me? I'll get that brand because I like the way you have it. I like how it works for you. And I trust you. I'm influenced because you're an advocate person. So the influence you have on me, it's not bad influence. I take it as good influence because I like talking. Right?
Go ahead,
so,
man.
I go and I buy the same light that you have. Now, I'm going to be honest with myself. Does it actually work for me? And if I get to a point where I discover that does not work for me, that does not mean you picked the bad light, but it also doesn't mean that everybody has to get that light. So,
yes,
as an advocate, I'll say, look, it works good for James, but take time to discover what works for you. That's when you end up finding people that are, they get stuck in, no, because it's the best thing ever. It's like, no, it's technically
do you
not.
need to buy that $800 one when you could probably get by with this $300-$400 one? Yeah, there are foundational principles, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about what we're doing, video content creation. Yeah, there's a difference between photo and video lights. I mean, at that foundation is where you should start your discovery, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
Godox, right? I know you were Godox for a minute. There's Godox, there's Nan, there's
Mm-hmm.
V word, there's X, Y, and Z. But look, if you're gonna do video, get video lights. Don't get the
Mm-hmm.
hues because the hues aren't video
Right.
lights. If you want to have some pretty colors, yeah, you can get RGB lights for $5 on Amazon. You get
Mm-hmm.
what you pay for, right? So again, I
Right.
understand those fundamentals, and then like you say, I really like what you said. I'm just repeating it like you said there, but get what works right for you and your particular situation, as opposed to what works right in Keith's room, because his room looks bigger
Mm-hmm.
than my 8x10. Look, you got a whole man. You
Mine's
downstairs.
small.
I know.
No, honestly, I think yeah, I don't even have an 8x10, bro. This is not really it. It's probably the same size, probably 8x10.
Okay.
Yep. It's literally the same size. It's not big. It looks way bigger than it actually is.
That's that angle. That camera angle. Okay, there we go. But you have been invited to record a track with Jillian. I know she can sing. I've heard her sing.
Oh yeah, I heard her sing.
Right.
Yeah,
I've heard
I heard
her.
her
I've
sing.
heard her be called out by Pink herself and sang
Mm-hmm.
Pink's song. So we know that she got some pipes. I would love to see that happen, boy. You on the keys, or you was it alto, you baritone?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, what as far as playing
Where
or
you singing?
singing?
Yeah, where you at?
I don't really sing. I only sing enough to do
You just
production
hum.
if the artist need it, and then I'll sing in church if I got a real
Yeah,
great
you do that
musician
church
or
ad lib,
something.
the little hum
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
I will ad lib because nobody thinks the preacher sucks when he sings, so you can get away. You get away with
a
it.
whole devotional right there. He's singing, old hymnals. Like, come on, Pastor, we trying to get down to that. Well, I'm gonna leave that alone. Church don't have to be 3 hours. Oh,
Wait, so Joe says, "What's up? Are we fixing things that ain't broke tonight?" You know what? Because you had that as a topic, right?
yes.
I don't
But
want to
so
sell
hopefully you
nobody
see kind of
short.
where I'm
Yeah,
consciously
go ahead. No,
taking
you
you
go ahead. You
in that
go ahead.
direction. But you see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm consciously
Yeah,
taking you in
I
that
see you.
direction, right? So ride the wave, and you're doing it fantastically. So that's exactly it, Joe. Yeah, we're trying to make sure professionally, personally, content creators, people within ministry, people in all walks of life. Don't try to. We're talking about again being thine own individual self, as opposed to trying to copy, be like, emulate, be negatively influenced by other folks out there who may not know your journey, who may not know your truth, who may not know your why and your reasoning. So I'm taking Keith all the way around the school, but we coming back and we going to the front door, and it's hopefully being relevant for you for you guys as we have this conversation.
So wait a minute. So I was working with a client and they said something in there. So I'm over here producing and they just running equipment and stuff and they're doing their webinar. And they said, we gotta be careful when we say that line. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And she gave a great perspective, and I like it. That's why I like perspectives, because sometimes people really have these, excuse my French, these pissing matches over words, right?
Yeah.
I like to deal with words, but it's just like, where are we landing the plane at? That's the whole thing. Where are we landing the plane? That's how you can have the convo when you understand where are we trying to land the plane. If we're trying to land the plane in the war zone, then the convo is just not going to go great.
Yeah.
If we're trying to have a happy landing, then we're going to have a happy landing. So here's something I learned. Sometimes so if it's not broke, is the phrase is, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Right.
Okay. So if it ain't broke, and let me slow walk this because it's going to be good. If it's not broke, don't fix it. A lot of times people try to fix what ain't broke, but the real thing is, whether it's broke or not, do you need to mess with it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's the other part.
Let me sit up straight. I was
Do you even need to bother it? Like I got A5100s, right? If it's not broke, then I turn it on, right? And I can use it. If it's broke, then technically it's just time to upgrade, not fix it, because it's not the cost of fixing it, right, is the same as getting another one. And if I'm at the point to get another one, do I need to get the same thing I had, or is it time to upgrade?
Okay.
So the argument of broken fixing is not really relevant if it's time to move on.
Wow.
Right. And there are some things that sitting in my room that I may use it one day again, and I may not. You know, the days that go by, whether it actually works or not, doesn't really matter for all these seasons I've been through. It didn't matter if the keyboard underneath my desk worked or not, because I had to funnel my attention into how to shift my church, how to shift me in the environment, how to get into something else to keep my mental straight. And that's why I've just been on camera. I started off this thing, I would go live and do keyboards and stuff, but then I'm like, I'm not feeling this. I'm just turned off by the music industry. So I got to know people and got more into what I do best, and that is talk, right?
Right.
You know, and then I had to realize, you know, just getting on, you know, the internet and won't he do it? Won't he make a way? Yes, he will. Run around your neighborhood and tell somebody. It's like, I don't know. Some people in this environment just need to have a conversation, right? They don't need to be stared into a religion, stared in that. Offer something on the table to look at. It's kind of like you with your high class self, you get to go to the CES, you get to go to all these big bougie events to see the newest thing that Bill Gates got out, and you know, Tim Cook, they put it in your hand first.
It's all right.
You know,
my skin is
you balling status. You get the private jet joint, and you go out with Ecamm in LA and all. You do all that stuff, right? But the thing is, it's you see everybody's got a tube light. So you see their tube lights, and then you make a decision based off of how they advocate for their company and or influence you that you need this product. They give you a chance, they give you a choice, and then you take that and say, okay, you know, do I need to fix the lighting situation in my room? No, just say you want a new light. Well, if you get a new light, you're going to take on rearranging everything, and you may have to rebuild the whole room around that one thing that you just had to have. Why? Because you thought what you had was broke. It wasn't broke, so don't try to fix that. Okay. Another thing, it's other things
to yourself.
Right.
Okay, be true to yourself, right?
Go ahead. You know, take it over.
Right?
Take it over.
Because again, a lot of times we will try to justify that B&H purchase, justify that Amazon purchase. Why? Because, you know, Keith got it in his room, and it looks so good. I got to get that too. And you know what? If I get that, I can be just as dynamic. I can be just as fulfilled if I get that piece of gear, that piece of equipment, that particular microphone, camera, cell phone, audio mixer, preamp.
Can I speak a word to somebody real quick?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What Bishop James just said, a lot of people need to be delivered from. VERT, delivered from. And that is the notion that whatever the newest thing is or whatever the hottest thing is going to make you better, right? Wow. Me and Felicia's thing that we laugh and we joke about, like if you start to talk language with me and Felicia, you got to know me and Felicia just buy it because we want it, right? And everything I buy, Felicia's not going to buy and vice versa, but I'm going to be influenced by her. She's going to be influenced by me because I like her taste. I like her style. So the problem is when I see Felicia, you know, a few other people buy something, I'm like, dad, why did I look at Felicia Page today? And, you know, you see Felicia with that beautiful smile and be like, ooh, I got that new lens. Now I'm sitting there like, now here's the thing I try to help people out with. I know how to filter it and say, what am I going to do with the new Sigma 20 millimeter lens? Now. I just threw that out there. Okay. The new Sigma 20 millimeter prime lens with the, you know, app, you know, control on there, the clickable. Yeah. I want it. Right. But before I rush and grab it, I have to envision how is that going to add value to what I do? Now notice this here. We have to be honest with ourselves. If we're doing it as a want or as weakness, right? You have every right to want something And if you can afford it, by all means, get it. But is that a weakness? Meaning that you never get started because you keep trying to grab the next thing. You know how many people have hit me about these windscreens because they really believe that the windscreen is going to make their broadcast better. Then I had people hit me up about
the colored mics that you put together.
Yeah. And so here's the funny thing, though. What I end up having to tell people is I frame my shot so that you see that much of the mic. There are people that have hit me up and this is all they do with their mic on their lives.
My God.
So I'm just like, listen, I don't do the body mic, the mic body as a business because it'll consume too much of my time and it'll drain my pocket to do it.
Yeah.
Or I know I would be overcharging you and I'm not like super perfect with it, right? So I looked at a couple people's lives and I said, even if you were to pay me for that, let me ask you a question. Do you take pictures of yourself in the room? They said, no, I'm on camera. I said, I looked at your YouTube, I looked at your lives, and this is all I see in every shot. So you would waste your money. I said, so it don't matter if you got diamond crusted, gold, or whatever, nobody's going to see it. So do you just want it because you want it, or do you think it's going, well, I want it for my shot. It's not in your shot. So do you want me to do it? And then you going to adjust your mic and say, hey, look at this yellow mic. If you don't have the content and stuff, or you don't actually have an idea where you're going, it's not going to matter. So don't do it. You see what I'm saying?
That prop being that exaggerated also takes away the focus from you, the individual, and your message as well. Because when you do that and you exaggerate it, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at something else as opposed to being locked in terms of what you're saying and what you're trying to educate me on and what you're trying to teach. So again, that deviates my focus, and I think folks are again either trying to cover something up, try to hide something, try to compensate for something as well by going through all of those stages. And that's a concern that I have about just people and taking care of themselves. So I'm gonna get to these questions, man, but I want to ask you something that you brought up, and you know what? I'm gonna write it down before I forget. Go and get you a drink there. I'm not sure what you're drinking. I don't know if you're drinking your fancy coffee.
Oh no, it's not Deacon juice. Okay. It's not Deacon juice. It's
or might be that. Hold on, let me write this.
It's tonic. It's straight tonic water. But I will let y'all know what night is it. Thursday? Yeah, this is not wine night.
That communion wine be half empty on Sunday. Well, Pastor didn't mess
it's
around.
Straight tonic. It's straight tonic. That's all.
Good Lord. I'm going to get him in trouble. Where were we? Let me see. Servant of Christ Ministry says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Does not mean improvements can't be made. I think sometimes people... I
agree.
Conflate the two at times. But I do believe that we sometimes work on the least important thing. That's a good one right there. That's a good one right there. And then what was it there? I thought I saw Ms. Joe say it's an ugly temptation to one up, keep up with the Joneses, surpass others' achievements by all the things. We do that and we 100% miss our own calling. Wow.
Oh, wait, look, right on what Jill's saying and taking servant of Christ, when you add those two, right? So let's take microphones. When we cut songs, right? I mainly use if anybody wants to look it up, it was the Neumann Can 47 mic. We use that as the go-to mic for every like background or idea. And then because we kind of had gas back then, it's like, oh, let's get a U87. Then we had this, and then we worked with Will at Sony, and they had this $8,000 mic that I think Doc Wright got one of those, right? It's the Sony, I forgot which one, but it's got the big thing on the back. Yeah. And we were like, yo, that mic is dope. And now here's the funny thing. We're working with like Tone and Polk and Rodney Jerkins and all these big time rich producers. And they're like, oh, we only work on the SSL and this, that, third. We don't care. Like, this is what we work on.
This is what and when,
yeah. And then when our artist got signed, And Puff Daddy, I'll never forget, 2 armored cars and his Bentley. He comes down the studio like, y'all cut on this? And we like, yeah, that's what we use. They like, no way. It's like we had the Cam 47, not the powered one. We had to put phantom power in it. We didn't have the box. Like we had the regular one. We dropped the mic 1,000 times and we put it in the room. And the room we was cutting in, our favorite room, wasn't fully soundproofed and stuff. We had to tell people, yo, shut up in the hallway. We cutting the vocals for the song. Like, I can play you some neo soul records. They got so much crap in there that you be like, whoa.
It's
and
like
then we get to LA.
The tape recorder up by the radio, right? Press record or press play at the same time. Tell everybody in the room be quiet because I'm trying to get this song off the radio.
Yeah, man. I mean, we used to call it Banshee. Like Banshee meant we just threw whatever together. Like on the Go-Go song that we did with Jill, It's Love, they're not timbales. It's like my man Andre like super tuned the tom-toms to sound like timbales. Wow. And you got people that's like, yo, them timbales, what timbales y'all use? It's like they the tom-toms because we didn't have time to go get timbales,
you know? Spoon on the back of a piece of Tupperware is what that is, with some reverb.
Dude, I ain't gonna tell you which album, but I'm singing background on the song because we couldn't get a tenor to come down the studio. Good and Lord. I just tucked it low enough and tweaked it where it's like, my bad voice ain't sound that bad, but it gave just enough texture. And that's one of those things where, you know, with Brother from Serving to Christ and then Miss Jill, it's some things that's like, use what you got, right? Back to the, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You don't, that camera I switched to, that's an A5100. Yeah. It's fine. So just because a new camera come out, you don't get it and throw it up in the air. You just be like, yo, that joint is fine. What do I need this for? And that's when you get your why. Now, one word on why, and this is really going to bless everybody. If you got gear acquisition syndrome, right? Mm-hmm. And you have that problem and you can't shake it, you have to shift into you buy to create. You don't buy because you think it's going to make you better. You create. So if you like, sometimes we just feel better with new things. Now, let me put it this way. We do feel better with new things. You think the lens, you look better because it's the new lens.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is, you want to dig into what you get. It's not so much of saying, oh, look at what I got, but it's digging in to what you have. It's being creative. So before you buy, you have to see, where am I going with this? I still don't have a drone. I've been getting a drone for like a year and a half and I never got the drone. You know why? Because vision wise, it does not fit into everything I'm doing right now.
Makes sense.
So everything I'm putting out, it's not broke.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, it's not broke because drone is not really going to do anything extra for me because I got so much to do here. So that's a point of, if it ain't broke what I'm doing now, why do I think a drone's going to fix what's not broke? You see?
Boy, there you go. Look at that. Joey D talking about push the gas pedal. I keep slipping. I got my pedal. I keep slipping on it. You can't use this Elgato foot pedal and wear house shoes. You got to wear some tennis. You got to wear some, man. It's not working right. Let me see if I can. Oh, okay, no, there it is. It worked that time.
Oh, there, you did it. You did it.
I'm trying to click it and get these things going. Let me ask you. let me ask you something like this. Appreciate you, Mama. Thank you very much. You know what? I'm gonna make sure Miss Jill gets some. She is all right. You know, all right by me. I wanted to go away, and then I'm gonna be cognizant of your time, brother, because I know you over there on the East Coast.
You're not bothering me. As long as we ain't boring people. Sorry if we boring you. Look, y'all got any direct questions? Ask me, and I'll answer them.
Yeah, look, we streaming everywhere. I'm looking at folks over on LinkedIn. We got business folks on LinkedIn. We got I checked it out. I want to talk about, and I preempted you a little bit this in the green room before we started, about that mental health aspect, right? Because you touched on that, and right, this past 17 months when the world stopped, not just Philadelphia stopped. Not just California stopped, the whole planet really stopped, right? And we're barely just now coming out of that. How you'd stated that by doing just music, while you were in your room didn't fulfill the need. You still were lacking something.
Mm-hmm.
How have you been able to adjust? I know you've gone on, you've done some services, you've preached at certain churches, and you've done some certain things, but how have you been able to pull yourself out of this tumultuous time that we've had globally, of being locked in, locked down, wearing masks, and just going through that? And how have you been able to maintain kind of that mental awareness about taking care of you first, and then taking
Mm-hmm.
care of your family, right? Because you're no good to Tina, you're no good to the family unless you take care of yourself first, in my perspective, right?
Right. So, Bible,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bertina, that's my wife.
Mm-hmm.
My boys, that's Isaiah and Caleb. Bowling, biking, broadcasting has been like a saving grace for me.
Yeah.
Pretty much in that order, give or take. And that's really what just kept me. Like I have a great marriage. Like my wife is my homie. So, she understands me whether I'm up or down. She's got my back. My boys are great. And they know what I love to do. And my wife, she knows when I'm tapped out with music. I
Okay.
made a song that Jill Scott is actually cutting. We have to finish it. It's taking time because she's doing film and stuff. But I actually one day I just made the track in the middle of the pandemic and I got it done. But at the same time, it's like I'm not on it every day. Like I haven't opened up Logic in like 5 months. I haven't pulled this keyboard out and actually played it underneath here in like 7 months, because I just don't feel like it. I only played at funerals because the musician wasn't there. And I played for a service because they didn't have a musician there when I went out. My church is not open yet physically, but will open right before Easter. But this platform, and here, it kind of helped me. Now, transparency.
Mm-hmm.
I love the eCam community, the whole thing, but what really, and I'm gonna have, y'all know me, I'm gonna do a moment of transparency.
Yeah.
I literally got irritated and slightly discouraged with Vlogmas of last year. Now, this is not a blame on eCam, the LGL community, nothing. But that was the moment when I seen leveled experts, right, that have not arrived.
There we go.
And it got to this point where I'm like, people are actually crapping on each other and calling it constructive criticism. Okay, the minute you start criticizing certain things, there's only two responses from that. Either people are going to say, okay, if you're criticizing me, show me how to get better. Or they're going to say, all right, I'm going to look at what you're doing. And when they look at what you're doing, there's another level there. Well, you could have 1,000, 100,000 subscribers to your YouTube. Cool. But if you ain't at the pinnacle of what I'm trying to do, good for you, right? Because I still got to find me. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Am I going to be happy at the top of that ladder being you and I'm not me? What does that do for me? You understand what I'm saying? Like every preacher, you can like a TD Jakes, Joel Osteen and have that many members, but is that for you? And are you really going to be happy in that seat? Or are you actually going to be mental health, be depressed because you're not true to yourself? And so that success means nothing. I literally got off track around that time because I was chasing like, everybody's experts here. And I forgot who I was.
Wow.
And I didn't realize that the reason I know most of these people is because I was doing me. I was doing the convos. I was just going live, bringing on my musician friends and chit-chatting and making coffee every morning, 3 days a week or whatever. And then I got into a space of, well, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that. And then I'm thinking like, I'm learning this from people that you ain't have a slider until after I got a slider.
See, there he go with that. Oh, Lord.
Again, folks. You wasn't into switching cameras until I started switching cameras. I'm just farting around with it because that's what I do. Yeah. And then I got the complaints from people, who needs all those cameras? And I'm like, oh, maybe they got a point. And then I had to think, I'm like, wait a minute. And here's the Keith Pelzer thing. Seek ye first the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So I always would build around, whether consciously or subconsciously, spiritually, I'm always building around my obligation to serve first. So when I started doing all of this,
Mm-hmm.
punching cameras and doing different things stuff, that was because I didn't want to just do a sermon, right?
Yeah.
And the sermon just taught to you right here. I was like, okay, how do we tell this in a story format and use the technology?
Right.
Right. And so when I started creating that environment, I started doing stuff like, okay, I'm trying to create this environment. So a slider.
Yeah.
Because, I'm watching, Obama's interview with Oprah and different people. And I'm like, I like the movement of that camera.
Yeah.
Then you're trying to figure out, why do I have a glare in my glasses, or why the lighting? Why do they look like they're floating like angels? So you learn. Okay.
Boy, learn.
You learn, and then you do off of what you learn. Now, again, like I said, this isn't a knock. That was Keith Pelzer's weakness. And it took me time to fall back and understand I don't need to please people in circles where if we legit rocking with each other, then we're iron sharpens iron, not critiquing, people that depress other people and put them down. And so you start to become a follower in places that you were into because you were leading, because you got off track off of what people say, what they do. And so advocating point, that's why I slide in sometime in posts and I'm on advocate, not influence, because I can influence people to buy stuff. But an advocate, you specifically talk about what's helping somebody.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying?
No, hey,
and a lot of times
I'm in that boat with you. Go ahead now.
And so I don't blame people that do it, but in order to help even those people that I think pull other people down or mentally jack other people up, it can happen in any environment. And that's what a lot of times people don't see. Like, if you think about this, there are so many YouTube, lives that are like, we're going to show you how to do a good live. And it's like, the first way you're going to show me is to show me your good live.
Yeah.
If your whole thing is off of telling me how to do it, and I don't see a page of you actually doing it, like, what are we talking about? And I'm not it's just so much of that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like a handyman telling you how to be a better builder. You're going to look at, show me a kitchen that you did. Show me a roof that you did. Show me clients and testimonials that you know how to build if you're going to instruct me on how to build a table. So I started getting it backwards. I went off of, on my dad's birthday, on April 24th in the pandemic. I was scared, and shout out to Diana Gladney. That's why I rock her shirts. I watched the video where she was just like, just push the button.
Yeah.
And because and some of what she was saying was, everybody got something to say. Right. If you went up and you was like, hey, Keith, I want to get on the Zoom with you, and I want you to look at my setup and tell me, am I ready to go? Well, technically, I learned not to be the person in the room to go, focus. The letter E should be red. And you know what? Orange light works better because such and such on YouTube, they got 1 million followers and they use the color green or something. It's like, dude, like,
come on now.
It's like,
folks. We're not doing it for the
you can chase that, but if that's what you're trying to do, then by all means, here's the problem. It's going to cost you money.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you webinars, seminars. It's going to cost you investing. It's going to cost you paying to play, to boost your algorithm and all of that. If that's what you want to do, by all means, do it. But don't sit in the crew of genuine, authentic creators that are expressing themselves. Get in that space and try to shift the environment into basically you just want to be top dog. I've been there, bro.
Yeah.
I've been there. I flew on the private jets and did all of that crazy stuff in the music industry. And at the end of the day, my wife and I will talk, and I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world just to be, super rich and to have all this and that. I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Like, that's a hard thing for some people. And that full circle mentally, that comes back down to who I am spiritually.
Amen. I love that. I love.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because you're comfortable in and of yourself. Now, I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you probably two more questions because this is something as well along these lines. I'm the advocate as well from a mental health perspective for men, right? Because for some reason,
Nice.
guys don't take care of ourselves, right? Women,
Mm-mm.
ladies, they got it down, right? I mean,
Yep.
they are more attuned and more locked in, making sure that they take care of themselves and do what they need to do. Why are we so stubborn? Why how come guys don't reach out to each other and say, Keith, I need some help, I need some assistance, I just need someone to yell and scream to, or to tell what I'm going through? Why does it so difficult for us to be able to go through something like this pandemic, 17 months or so, right, and be falling off the cliff, as opposed to just picking up the phone and calling my brother and say, man, just listen to me for 5 minutes and then I'll feel better. Why is that such a difficult thing for males to do?
Because it is broke and we don't fix it because it is broken. We don't want to admit that it's broken. Like the broken part is, sometimes we're just too man to just say,
We in our own way.
yo,
We're in our own way.
yeah. Eh, Like I had to admit to my wife and, some of my church folk, I'm like, I'm cool. Now listen to what I'm saying. I'm cool and I have to get to a place to understand that I've almost mastered camouflaging the mental problems, right? And that is a thing. Like, cuz I can ride it out.
Mm-hmm.
I literally can just get on the bike and it mixes in with my normal agenda that has a purpose.
Yeah.
And it literally pacifies the problem. And I get off the bike and then I'm back to this and church stuff and family stuff. But at the end of the day, I stopped one time and I told my wife, I was like, honestly, there's someone that's not like me and I'm concerned about them. Right? For me, I can pass through this and you'll never know. But I had to admit to my wife, I said, I think mentally I'm really fighting with something. Like I got discouraged after a while because we went through that whole thing of like, yo, how is it that, I'm gaining subscribers, people will show up if I go live on Facebook, but like Zoom suffers for Bible study. It's like Sundays, the column is filled with people that you don't know that are like, oh, that's an awesome word. And, and you lifting people up and you just like, man, I don't, I'm not feeling it. I went through some stuff with music that was not music soul child, but music industry that was just depressing.
Yeah.
It was, business stuff that really got on my nerves. And I'm just like, a lot of people don't know this side of the music game. You understand what I'm saying? They look like, oh, they playing your jam on the radio, you eating, you getting checks. And you like, okay, it ain't that simple. Okay, yeah. Now, God rest his soul, Steve Jobs. But I'm like, when that iTunes came out, that flipped the game and the profits. You understand what I'm saying? And so you kind of like you're helping everybody else, but you need help, but you're solving your own problem, but not solving it, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So I became good at it. And so to answer your question, sometimes the conversation doesn't happen because you learn how to cope and like self-heal for the moment that it becomes so repetitious that you never can really identify your actual hurt because you're actually in a pseudo healing on a consistent basis. The problem is somewhere along the way, the gas going to run out.
Go ahead now.
And it's really going to hit you. So what I'm doing now is I'm finding the gas station before the tank run out.
Boy,
if that makes sense.
He said, I'm trying to find the gas station.
I'm finding the gas station before the tank run out. I mean, I've been rolling. I got further than a lot of people, but I'm sitting there like, you know what? The gas light is on. And there's a point where the gas light is on for a while. And then you pass that point and you kind of like, I have no idea.
You just out here in these streets. You don't know how much further you got.
I don't know. And the thing is, that sign that says, next rest stop, 25 miles. And daggone well that where the E is at, there's not 25 miles in that tank. So, yeah. I'm getting to that rest stop.
Bro, there's analogies right there. We can go for a whole nother 2 hours with that.
Yeah.
But hopefully you saw where I tried to bring the conversation back and kind of to the topic and subject matter. And hopefully folks saw that as well. I will bring up this one last comment before we close. But yeah, what Servant in Christ Ministry said, pride is the number one hindrance to getting help. Also, the stereotype for males is that asking for help is weakness. That's powerful right there. And then Carlos is talking about, you're so good, Keith. We don't have to wait till we're on empty. We can get in front of that. And that's really is kind of the crux of this conversation. Realizing that we don't have to do this alone. Realizing that we have support systems, realizing that we have folks that are in this for the right reason and are unselfishly looking to be servants, looking to be advocates, looking to be those that help others when they are down and trodden as well. We've seen some comments today, literally with folks making that walk up the middle of the aisle in church, right? We've seen a couple of comments along. I'm gonna use that analogy, right? So a couple of folks reached out and said, you know what, I'm here for you, and we're gonna go talk, and we gonna work this out, and we're gonna figure this out. That's literally, man. That's what I'm trying to do, and y'all pray for me that you know we do this together, raise the level of conversation, have those awkward conversations that matter and that resonate. All I can say, man, Keith, look, my mother and my grandmother have always told me this: give people their flowers while you can, right?
Oh yeah.
So you doing it, brother. I appreciate you. And I want to say it. I want to say it publicly. I want to say it in recording, and I want it archived forever. That what you do matters. I sit back in the cut and I watch. I know how much ground you put when you mixing coffee. I know how many kilometers you are on your bike, and when you have a flat, when you're in the middle of a 40-mile road. But I also see the dialogue that you have when you're amongst your peers. Like when you and Bishop Oliver or some other folks are chopping up and talking. So I really take that to heart, and it matters, and it's helping me from a mental perspective, right? Get through some troubling times, right? In terms of, again, just being stuck in this building for 18 months or so, right? Because I'm normally the guy out in the front of the room, drawing on the board, touching, giving hugs, doing all that stuff, and we just got to realize that we need to go ahead and reach out for assistance, reach out for help, continue to be ourselves as opposed to me trying to be you, because I can't be you. And if I do that, I'm going to end up having an ulcer. I'm going to end up having high blood pressure. I'm not going to be fulfilled. I'm not going to be happy in life. So I wanted to give that to you, brother. I appreciate you for everything that you do, man. I'm glad you were able to come hang out with us a little bit. Talk to us about, talk to us about what you got coming up next, man. I know you got something. Ooh. I know you probably going for a bike ride in the morning. I need to put my Apple Watch on to keep up.
No, I can tell you, and I know we got to go. I can tell you this.
Oh no, don't trip. We got to go. I am going to go to the gym tonight because I'm going to find myself underneath the squat.
Oh man, get out of here.
To catch up. Because
So an idea that I have, and I seen it, and it's in the knowing what you're doing. So influence is out there, right? And it's real good. Kevin, what's going on? It's influence is not bad. Remember, we talked about good influence, bad influence. So you can seek things that will be influential to you, but you intentionally are looking at it. So I said all that to say, I started seeking successful / significant to me YouTube's podcast or whatever that's in line with what I know I'm doing. So if I'm into a rolling keyboard, you don't go to a Nord keyboard store if you're sure I like rolling keyboards. So you go to the rolling keyboard section and you tap into that. Now you can be open to be like, okay, on the way out, I'm gonna check and see those Nord keyboards, or a certain drum set or something that's not the one that you play. You can be open, but you want to stay focused. And so for me, I was just like, what started that was good for me was convos, right? Because I would just have the mic open and have the conversations. Like good talk show hosts, they talk every night. So sometimes I would get discouraged because people were like, oh, you always talking. It's like, well, that's what I do. I run my darn mouth at times. And when I ride the bike, I don't talk to nobody because I'm zoned in. But this right here, talking, my sermon's not going to be longer than 20, 25 minutes. I know how to preach and give 1, 2, 3 and shut up, close it. Early he got up and I sit down. Y'all can go home, watch the game. I'm trying to watch it too. So I'm not a long-winded preacher like that. But in this space, talking is something that does help.
Yeah.
And so what I noticed was, like, I'm going to rebuild in this room and set it up more like a visual podcast room, right? But start having more of a hangout and conversation, deliberate conversation. Nothing new. It's not a new concept, but I'm like, that's what I got to aim towards. Okay. There's a lot of people that are trying to be talk show hosts that is just like, you don't have the hosting gift. You have the conversation gift, but not the hosting gift. For me, I'm not that good with the patience of all the bells and whistles. Like, I'm more so, I fix the background, I get a dope camera. The multiple cameras, jokes aside, again, they have a reason. Yeah. It's because when I'm showing something, each angle has a reason. The 2 confidence monitors I have over here, that's because I got a session tomorrow where the host is sitting here on the radio show, the guest is sitting right here, and I need to pull the cameras in on them. So that's why I have all those cameras and stuff, right? And so I'm getting to a point where it's like, there's so many conversations that people want to have. Most people need to be live every freaking day. And they're stuck trying to do that once a week. And they done took that influence on, you got to do this, you got to do that. Your countdown timer has to be this way. You got to do that. You got to put a commercial there. Okay, that's good. But does that work for the person? And I'm watching some things that are blown up. And some of my clients are like, so I'm trying to do the YouTube thing. And, and they pull up a page and I'm laughing because I'm looking at this successful YouTube page. And I'm like, they just got 2 mics set up. They don't have no overlays or nothing. And dudes just talking. Yeah. And it's like 100,000 people subscribed and more, like almost 1 million. And I'm like, that helps you to understand. That's why Tom Buck is another one of my favorite. Mm-hmm. If you watch Tom Buck, he doesn't do a ton of B-roll and stuff. Tom literally sits in that chair. He maps out what he's going to say, and he gives people a perspective on stuff. And he doesn't say, you have to do this. He tells you why he likes it. Yeah. He gives you the option to say, do I want to use an overhead mic? Do I want to use this? Do I want to change the pop filter? Do I want to use this lens? He gives you the option, and that's him. That he was a teacher. So he's literally teaching in his broadcast. Yeah. In other words, he's not becoming somebody that he's never been before. You see, back to that point I made. Yeah, he's like, what makes him great is the person he's in. Most people really just need to tap into, and I got off of what I'm doing because it's hard to really like.
Go ahead, it's all good, brother. It's all good.
Say, and then it's multifaceted. Working with Anselm and Lemuel and Dr. and Bishop Oliver, and then we got to bring Jody in there. I got to step back and look, we want to make sure we got diversity in there because Lem is a brother. Lem a brother wrapped in a Filipino body. But anyway, we want to add diversity because we're not trying to force religion or something with somebody. We're just opening up the floor to talk and have a conversation. Like, I'm gonna be doing more lives with Felicia. Just pop on and talk. People want to hear it. So that's one of the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to get deeper into my coffee stuff and my wife and I. So here's one other thing I'll drop on you.
Y'all need to do a show. I will pay for it day one.
Let me tell you something.
Early investor.
So I'm not a deep, God dropped this in my spirit, whatever, but I'm going to just say this. The Lord literally hit me with this. And I've been feeling for a lot of marriages that I seen fall apart and stuff. And you know what really hit me? I was just like, the moment that people market their marriage, it's a mess.
Say that again.
Let that sink in.
Yeah, say that. Say that one more again.
The moment that people start marketing their marriage, it becomes a mess. That's just my observation. Every lifted marriage that I heard, is like celebritized and stuff.
Okay, yeah. I
It's
see. I
like this
see.
marketing aspect
Wow.
that's like, we're so in love and this
Yeah.
is how you do it.
Look at
And,
us on
we want to
TikTok because
give
we
our
so okay.
story.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, baby, brother,
Boy.
y'all in chapter number 1, 2 paragraphs in, and y'all marketing the marriage. Now, the problem with that is once you start marketing it, this exclusive on the James Hicks show. Watch this here. Once you start marketing, it's like a business. And as a business, to make more money on it, you need stockholders. So you go to IPO, involving people from outside.
Lord have mercy.
IPO. And so when you do the IPO, you allow shareholders to come in. You turn into a stock, and stocks get manipulated. So you bring on the bears. Come on.
Go
You
ahead
bring
with
on,
you now.
you see what I'm saying? You bring on the bears and the bulls, and you got this outside environment, and you got the bulls in the ring trying to gain a quick profit off of being in touch with you. And then you got other ones that are like bears, and they're going to sit for the long haul, and they're going to be a problem trying to make a profit off of what you marketed. Now, what I'm saying is be the positive influence by living it rather than marketing it. See, Christianity got bad because people start marketing Christianity. Jesus came and he dwelt among us. Dwelt among us didn't mean that it's like, hey, all eyes on me. He showed up from the back, from the front, from the side, from around, low cut, dressed up, not dressed up, to the point where they said, there he is, because they recognized him in that robe. And other times they couldn't even figure him out because he looked like everybody in the crowd. He had sermons on the Mount. He talked to thousands of people, and he had a conversation with Nicodemus and the woman at the well. He did all of that. He bled, he died, but early on Sunday morning, he got up with all power in his hand. I just snuck my preaching there.
Yeah.
But the thing was, the dwelt among us is being it rather than having to market it. And so when it, to me, and I'm not saying you don't do a podcast, you don't write a book, but once people's like the 7 keys to success of a good marriage, I'm like, y'all have been married for 2 months, 1 year. I talk to people that have been married for 65 years, and they even tell you, we don't really have an outline for you, but do you love her? Do you love him? Do you love the other person? Yes, no. Be authentic and real about it. Yes, you have ups and downs, right? But a lot of people, they market it, and you bring in people from outside, IPO, and then people are stocks to your marriage. And so you go off of the momentum of what everybody else think, and it shapes the stuff. And then when it's no longer popular, you lean into what everybody else wants. So for us, we learned what is successful about what we do. What is significant about what we do? We only show you to who we are. We don't go to plan it. I just say, hey, babe, come in here. Yeah. Get on the thing. You got me on this camera, blah, 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 blah. And I just let her be her.
Yeah.
She don't have to look in the confidence monitor. I do. Because I'm on here. I market this stuff. I show this stuff, whatever. To my crew of people, here's the confidence monitor. To Tina, what am I looking at? All these things around here I'm looking at. Babe, talking to Mike. I don't feel like talking to it. So you put it over here. Well, she helped me out. Put a lapel mic over here or something like that. That's our marriage in all aspects. And God has been good. My family's great. My children are growing up fine. And we have not put out a book. We have not done a seminar or nothing yet. And I done said it 1,000 seminars I've seen, and people, oh, we want y'all to speak and stuff. We don't have a magic formula. Okay. And I say that about my marriage the same way I say it about your broadcast, your lives, your eCam, what you're doing. Be authentic to yourself and trust it. And the people that love you, they'll be around, and they'll appreciate you in the long run. So, that's basically it. That's that's it for me. So me and Tina, we will be live. We will be doing some stuff. And like her, me and my son, we're like, oh, mom could do a YouTube page and she'll have more subscribers than you, Dad. And I was like, yep, she sure will. But you know what? That's not what Tina wants.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why? Not unless we need the money and we like, hey, let's do it so we can get that YouTube bag.
Yeah.
That would be the only reason I would be doing it right now, because her why is not to be a YouTube or Instagram star. Can she? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But is that what she wants?
That's
No,
what's driving her. That's what.
no.
Man, good Lord have
Mm-mm.
mercy. I'm a. All right, folks. Look, that last 10,
You're
15
right.
minutes, I asked him one question, and we
I'm
we
sorry.
no man, there was the revival right there. Right, that was Sunday afternoon service. Right, that was a 6 p.m. service. Hopefully that resonated with you. It resonated with me, and I'll bring up this one last comment because I think that sums up everything pretty well. You guys and ladies are true mentors to someone who wants to learn this. The convos. Thanks for answering all of my questions honestly, and your channels have helped a whole lot. Thanks again. That's from Sax.
Oh, Sax Philly. Yes.
Right. So I
Yes.
mean, just that right there, and just having these conversations, and I'm seeing folks in the comments. I see my mom in here too, and she's chiming
Hey,
in,
Mom.
and yeah. Valerie Singleton, we see you jumping in. So much wisdom. Again, this is what we do, right? Having higher level conversations that matter and that resonate. Hopefully, you stop and pause and sit and meditate and think about it, and put some of these things to action. Put some of these things to use. Dr. Pelzer, look, listen, man. Yeah, this
And
is
I'm here for anybody that's got questions. Like, I
yeah,
don't mind answering them. I'm not going to steer you in. You got to do it a certain way. If you just want to know what kind of mic lights, whatever, me, James, you got the newer Godox lights, don't you?
yeah.
Okay,
I
I
got a
got
gang
the
of
I
them
got the
too.
older
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
Okay, got you. Yeah, I like them Godox, man.
I got a gang of them up here. I don't know. I'm not gonna tell you how much I paid, but yeah, I got
I
a gang
love
of them.
I love it. I love it. I love
I
it.
got Godox up in front too, so I got like 6 of them. Yeah, we talk about that
That's
next
what I'm
time.
talking about, man.
Brother, I appreciate you, man. Like I said, I'm gonna go get underneath the squat rack because I need to process that this conversation right here. This is amazing. Mom says, "Come on back." I just woke up. Just put it on replay, ma. It's out there. It's all good. Look. This ain't going nowhere. This is archived for a long time, for sure. Keith, be good, brother. Let's do this again, man. Because I want to have some more conversations with you around these types of things. Because again, look, we raised the conversation 35,000 feet up. We didn't get into um, infrastructure and components. We talked about
Got you.
things that matter to life, and that's where I wanted to keep the conversation. And I appreciate you for doing that. Go give Tina a hug tonight.
I will. I will.
Don't get locked out of the room.
You know she on your side. You understand
I
that,
know,
right?
and I'm trying to
So
keep it
don't
that way.
so don't overplay that. You know what I'm saying? You and her, you Doc and a few people, y'all on that good, y'all on that Tina friend side. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
She
gonna
gonna take
keep it
you.
that way too. Look, I know. I'd rather be good with the women of the house than to be. I ain't worried about you.
She was like, "How's James doing? That's my but how's James doing?"
I'm
Like,
gonna send her some swag. What the next
yeah.
is that? Like, you know what? We gonna put another order in. We gonna put another. All right, brother. We out, man. I appreciate you, folks.
All
Thank you
right,
again for
man.
joining. Look, if this resonated with you, share it with somebody and tell a friend. Call somebody close to you and just check on them as well because that matters. That'll take care of them. And that'll take care of you as well. We out. Appreciate you.